Greetings, Bell Medical. This is Kevin. We're going to turn the camera down low and take a look at the tabletop here and all the different Air ICU products that we have that we're going to be talking about. I'm going to kind of go through a demo and some of the things I've learned in different demonstrations and how for you to talk about this, and then also to just answer any questions that you might have. So this is an open forum. Come off mute and ask your questions, or use the chat. I might be able to see that, or somebody will. But I've done about maybe 12 to 15 demonstrations for customers, and every one of them has gone well, where they said, yes, send me a quote, or what's the next step, or we'll fill out the forms for value analysis. We've actually gotten some orders. One of our Barnes satellite hospitals has purchased 10 medicine cups, and thus getting the AG1 controller. So that strategy is working, where he's not going through the value analysis. He just wants to get the medicine cups and see how they work for him. So hopefully that'll turn out to be good. So that strategy seems positive, and overall everything's been very positive with the product. So how would I demonstrate, or how have I been demonstrating it? We'll kind of just show you. So I'm going to bring the display down, and I'm going to show you what I'm looking at here. So this is the Air Max Plus, Air ICU Max Plus control unit, and I actually have it on, or I'm going to turn it on. And there's continuous mode. And so what I'll tell people is, when I start this, we'll talk about the medicine cup. First of all, the medicine cup has 10 ml medicine or medication capacity. The alternative only has 6 mLs. And I've had customers tell me that they can never put 6 mLs into it. So I'm not exactly sure why that is, but this one will allow you to go easily over 6 mLs, because we have a capacity of 10 mLs. It also has a screw top, which is what they're familiar with. And at this time, we usually try to talk a little bit about the mesh technology, because that's the true technology behind this. We use a polymer mesh instead of a palladium metal mesh. Palladium is considered a heavy metal and kind of a maybe not a healthy metal, and a polymer is kind of benign. It's a plastic, and we produce the same average molecule size as the Aerogen, and that's 5 micrometers or less. So one of the things I'll tell them about is, we talk about the ml capacity. We'll talk about the polymer mesh that's vibrating to create this, and then we'll show them the controller, and the controller has something that they don't have, and we're at level 1 right now, and if I press this, it'll go to level 2, and you may see a difference in the output of the nebulizer. It's a little bit hard to see, and now I'm going to go to level 3, and level 3 is the highest level that we do, and the closest thing that Aerogen has would be level 2. So I have a spec sheet that explains what those levels are, and it's important that those are basically nebulation intensity levels, if you will. They're not flow rates, so it's a nebulization rate. And once again, level 2 is closest to what the Aerogen does. So why would we have 3 different levels? Well, what it turns out is that, anyway, having choice is always good, but level 3, we are told, it works better for the more viscous medicines they have, the thicker medicines they have. So we vibrate the mesh a little bit more, increase the output, and thus we're able to deliver some of those medicines perhaps better than the Aerogen. Level 1, which could be used for pediatrics or infants, but also could be used, I had a customer tell me they had a protocol where they had to deliver a medicine, and the protocol was to deliver it over a 60-minute period. So he felt like being able to go to a lower output would allow the medicine to be utilized and delivered over that 1-hour period. So the point is that the Aerogen controller does not have 3 different nebulization rates, and yet we do, and there are reasons that customers may find those 3 different rates helpful, and they're relatively easy to change. So once again, level 2 is equivalent to what the Aerogen controller. I also kind of proposed that level 3 in certain medicines might improve the delivery time of a medicine, so it might make a respiratory therapist treatment go faster for a particular patient. So once again, they might save time in the patient's room and be able to move on to the next patient. So there definitely would be advantages of being able to deliver at a higher level, higher rate, nebulization rate. Let's see, I also explained to them that we have 3 different timer modes. We have a 15-minute timer, we have a 30-minute timer, and then we have a continuous timer mode. So those are available on there. And we're in the continuous mode now, and what I've learned when I'm demonstrating it is that I can, without even changing the controller, I can introduce the flow sensor. So I explain the advantages of the 10 ml, the mesh. We talk about the 3 different levels of nebulization rate, and then I introduce that we have a completely different control method. So we can do continuous as we're doing now, or what we can do is we can connect a flow sensor. We have a flow sensor that's an adult flow sensor. We also have pediatric, and we're going to have an infant flow sensor later on in 2026. And when I do this, it automatically changes it to breath actuated mode. So by me connecting the flow sensor, it's changed it to breath actuation mode, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to inhale and exhale for a couple, and you'll see the activity of the device. So there's my Darth Vader impression, but the point is that breath actuated capability was first brought on by, I'm drawing a blank on the name, somebody will remember what it is, and I'll remember it in a second. But on a mesh nebulizer, it has not been available. The whole idea, though, is that it will perhaps deliver the medication more efficiently to the patient. It might reduce medicine waste, and it also, depending on the way you're delivering it, if you're delivering it with a handheld nebulizer like an aero chamber, it could potentially reduce exposure of the respiratory therapist and anyone else in the room to excess medicine vapors. So there are definitely advantages, although it does require a flow sensor. So, and it also requires what we call a Y cable. So the Y cable will do basic continuous, and then if you attach a flow sensor, it'll convert it to breath actuated mode. So we have basically an entire new mode that can be at the fingertips of a respiratory therapist that could have some significant clinical advantages. So that's kind of a quick overview of the AirICU Max Plus controller. I also mentioned usually that we're powering this device. It has a 90-minute battery. We're powering this device via a USB cable or an AC outlet. So basically, they have a choice of plugging it into an AC outlet, or maybe a ventilator might have a USB power source or a computer or whatever, but that gives them added flexibility, whereas their Aerogen only plugs into an AC outlet. So right now I'm plugged to a computer tower to get power to this. One thing when you're doing a demonstration is I would always have it plugged into power, or I would always have it fully charged, because I've had situations where it surprised me and it powered down because of either inactivity or because I didn't have the battery charged completely. So at this time, I usually introduce the AG1, but I'm going to show you another thing that everyone seems to like, and I cannot imagine why they wouldn't like it. But there is an app on an iPhone or on any smartphone basically, and it's called iBreathe. So when I select iBreathe, it brings up the app, and it will locate via not Wi-Fi, because hospitals don't want you to get on their Wi-Fi network, but Bluetooth. It'll locate the device that's closest to it. So I can press the device, and then it'll bring up the information. So right now I'm at a countdown of 0, and it's saying 0. I can control this nebulizer via this, so I can say I want to stop this, or maybe I want to start it. You know, and it's showing 30 minutes now, and they're both in sync. I can maybe say I want to stop it now, and I want to say that I'm finished, and I want to change mode. So now I'm going to go to a continuous mode, and I'm going to start it up again. So now we're in a continuous mode, and you might have noticed that the controller changed to continuous mode also. And once again, the clocks are in sync. I can also come down here and I can hit the different levels, and I have level 1, 2, or 3. Right now we're at level 3, so I'm going to go to level 1. And once again, it changed it on the AirMax Plus controller. So a clinician can change the timer, can change what mode they're in, can change the level of nebulization rate, can start and stop it. They basically have full control, and it's extremely easy to use. And they'd be in the room. You can't be like down the hall, but you can be in the room and make some changes as you need it and control it as you need it. And once again, we're in that continuous mode. So that's the iBreathe system that's available at no charge. So that's the basic controller. Now I'm going to introduce the AG1, and the AG1 is designed kind of as a bridge for them to use our medicine cups with either an Aerogen controller or with a ventilator that has a nebulizing system built into it. So I have this set up where it's powered on. Now the AG1 does not have a battery, so it needs to be plugged into power. So this is my power, and this happens to be an AG1 cable, excuse me, an Aerogen ProX cable. So this would plug into the ProX controller of Aerogen, and then as a result, that's where you would control our medicine cup. So that's where you'd set the timers, that's when you turn it on and off, because this would be on. However, our AG1 is a controller in itself, and we're providing AG1s at no charge with the purchase of 10 medicine cups. That's a limited time offer, but we're basically doing it as a kind of a product introduction, and there's no end in sight, and at least initially with that. But basically I can press this and turn on the nebulization. So it in itself is a controller, and it will be in continuous mode, and only one rate, but they're happy with that. And I can stop it by just doing that. So the AG1 is a controller in itself. However, it's really designed as a bridge to allow you to use an AirICU medicine cup with the Aerogen controller, or with there's a plug-in we have here that will allow you to connect your ventilator to this. So the goal is that if you wanted to go to our medicine cups, and yet you had Aerogen controllers or Aerogen built into your ventilator, you would then be able to use the AG1 to connect to that ventilator and have them be able to utilize our medicine cups. So once again, that's the AG1. I also talk about the brackets that we have available. There's one for the AG1 and there's one for the controller, but basically they are designed to be able to attach to a hose, like a circuit hosing, or they can be pivoted and attached to an IV pole, and then basically this would fit into there, and you'd be able to rotate it if you needed to, depending on how you want to have it set up. But that's available for the AG1, and there's one. This is actually for the other one, but it fits fine. So I'm not sure why they have two different ones for it. But so that's kind of a quick overview. I might mention that one of the things that's a little interesting is there's a product number, I think it's the 3350, that most people order from Aerogen, and that is their solo medicine cup. and a T-piece. Right now, and maybe in the near future, we might change this, but I don't anticipate it because they don't. Feellife only sells the controllers, the medicine cups without the T-piece. The T-piece would be what they would put it in, and you know, we're delivering through the T-piece. The Aerogen T-pieces are compatible with our medicine cups. In fact, all the Aerogen accessories are compatible with our medicine cups. So the customer doesn't have to switch T-pieces. They can continue using an Aerogen T-piece if they wanted. But initially what they would probably buy is our medicine cup with our T-piece. So that reminds me, one of the things we need to start quoting when we quote our 10 medicine cups is we should quote 10 T-pieces, and we need to quote the AG1 at no cost. So far we've been writing in the quote notes that if they buy 10 they would get one at no cost. We need to keep writing that in the notes, but we need to actually list the AG1 and show it as no cost, so that when the customer sends in their purchase order, because we just got a purchase order for 10 and it didn't really reference the AG1. I know he wants the AG1 because otherwise he wouldn't be able to use the medicine cups, but the point is that we need to adjust our quotes to add 10 flow sensors, 10 T-pieces. And once again, this T-piece is available in adult, which I'm showing now. It's also available in pediatric and 2 different infant sizes. That's something to be aware of, that they sell theirs in a kit, which means the medicine cup comes with the T-piece. We sell the 2 differently, so we need to start quoting that appropriately. Okay? All right, so that's a quick overview. I'm going to introduce one thing that isn't available yet, but has anyone had a customer? We usually ask them, well, how many medicine cups do you have? How many medicine cups do you use a month? That's a good question. We might ask them, how many Aerogen controllers do you have, and how many ventilators do you have that have Aerogen or Nebulizer built into them? Because those are all important things to know. A lot of them have told me that they use, they might have 2 Aerogen controllers and 15 USB cables, USB controllers. And what that USB is, I might be able to bring it up if I look at my computer here. I'm going to do a quick little search for there we go. So I'm going to try to do this. Hopefully you're seeing the Aerogen Pro X controller. So that's what our AG1 plugs into. And then this is what is called their USB controller. So it's I don't know whether I have a better picture of it or not. It doesn't look like it, but it has power cable on one end and the cable that goes to the to their medicine cup on the other end. And you notice it has a timer of 30 minutes and 6 hours, and you basically press it and turn it on and off. So you really only have a couple choices. Only one nebulization rate and 2 different timer, and then there's a continuous mode that you can just put it on. So that's the USB controller. So I see customers with this Pro X, which is like the size of a kind of a large mouse, and then lately I've found out that some people have a number of these devices. So let's see if I can go back to, I hope you were able to see that. Now you're back to my my desk, and I'm going to connect. Let's see. Let's connect this controller. So I'm going to power this on, and there it shows 30 minutes. And I think I can touch it and change it to 6 hours. That would be 6 hours. So this would have it's giving me an alarm, and that's important. It says link fail because I don't have anything connected to it. But that's kind of interesting. The AirICU controllers, none of them have any alarms. No audible alarms or no message alarms. Ours have both messages and audible alarms. Now, they're not loud, but if you were in the room, you would hear that going off. And I'm going to take this medicine cup and I'm going to plug this into it. So now we're on and we're operating to this. So if I press this, I can turn it off. I can turn it off by just pressing. So that turned it off. I can turn it back on again. And I can set, right now it's set at 30 minutes. I can press it again, and now it's at 6 hours, which I guess is like a continuous mode, if you will. So this is what we would sell, and we don't have these in stock yet. They gave me one at the recent meeting I attended with them, but it is going to be available very soon. So if a customer is using the USB controller, we have a perfect option for that. So we would still use the AG1 for a ventilator and for meeting with their mouse-style Pro X controller. But if they also say, oh, we have 10 USB controllers, then we'd want to get them 10 of these AirICU USB controllers. So that's kind of so I really do believe. The other thing I tell people is that we don't really have, this has been available in Europe for almost 5 years, in South America. So what's great about it is for us and for them is that we're dealing with a product that's a proven product. We're not going to be, it's not going to be like, let's say, StimPod, where they've come out with a new software and we have problems with it, or they don't have communications yet, or some issue like that. This is a proven product. It's just a matter of getting everything in the U.S. stock-wise. We're working with the folks at AirICU to possibly give them space on Bell Medical's warehouse floor to have them stock product. We have like 400 medicine cups on order and more controllers, and I think a bunch of AG1s, but we're going to need more stuff, and what we're hoping to do is have them stock it here where we'll be able to pull from that inventory and supply to our customers. Now, we currently, in fact, I don't know whether, I would say we're currently their only distributor. They seem to be fairly impressed that we have the country covered with sales reps. I'm not 100% sure whether they understand what an independent sales rep is, but they're going to do a joint presentation with us at the AARC in New Orleans I think it's in November. So right now they're pretty excited about Bell Medical. They've met Lisa Fernandez out of Miami, and she was able to get a controller and an AG1 from them. They met John Patterson in Chicago because they were meeting with a physician in Chicago. And then they met our Southern California rep, and he was even able to go to look at their facility. They do have a facility in California. I think one of the buildings had like 40,000 square foot, and one was 20,000 square foot. So they have two buildings. They have plans of doing production in the U.S. If you look at these medicine cups, they actually do have a couple screws on them, so they are assembled in some manner. So the molding and the plastic will all be done in China, but final assembly could be in the U.S., which should help people feel more comfortable about the product in general, and also it'll make availability better for it. Now, how long we'll have the product exclusive, I would be naive to think that we can keep it the whole time, but I think if we get sales that have a steady growth and that are in each state, we can maybe keep going and have a significant success. One of the things I would tell you is that we did a quote recently. Well, it was in Ohio, and the customer had 3 hospitals, and the 3 hospitals, one was a 550-bed hospital, one was a 200-bed hospital, I think one was a 150-bed hospital. But the hospitals together were doing 3,000 medicine cups. Well, 3,000 medicine cups to that rep will mean $2,400 in his pocket every month. And they were very excited about moving forward. I've shown it to some of my biggest customers, which is Barnes, and they've already bought the 10-pack of medicine cups to investigate it. But I never even met the respiratory therapist. We actually physically made a call on them and set it all out on the table, and they were impressed with it. And he said, well, this looks like something we would want to promote to the value analysis. And I said, well, would you want to try it first or do anything? He says, no, what we don't want to do is get all the therapists excited about something new and another option if it hasn't been approved. So his strategy is to go basically through the value analysis process. Once value analysis says, yes, you can, you have the option of buying this, then they would introduce it to their team and basically. So he's got a form that I'm going to help him fill out that's probably got some questions about Feellife, etc., and we're going to move forward on that. But there's been no one that has basically said, yeah, we're not interested in that. So I should open it up to questions, and let's do that. So I don't know whether there's chats or I haven't seen any questions in chat, but
Kevin, this is Lisa. I have a question.
Let's start with Lisa, and then we'll go to Jerry.
I just wanted to ask, in your calls that you're having, are people excited about some of the benefits, just so I know for my own knowledge, the different benefits that we offer, or are they more excited about the cost savings?
I'm going to say it's pretty equal. I haven't had anybody. I'm going to say they're probably more excited about the clinical features that they can take advantage of at a lower cost. So okay. It's a combination, but of the, let's say, 12 to 15 I've done, I only had one customer that, was not impressed with breath actuation. He said, well, I don't know whether we would use that. Well, he doesn't know because he doesn't have it now. Right. Whereas everybody else had thoughts. In fact, one of the things I'm doing now on and I would recommend that you would all do that, besides asking them, how many Aerogen Pro X controllers they have, and how many, or do they use the USB cable, and how many ventilators do they have that have it, and then finally, how many medicine cups they use. And besides those 4 questions, I've been asking, is there anything you don't like about your Aerogen system? And is there anything that you like about it, And so far, it appears that the Aerogen system does a good job. So there's no one that says, oh gosh, I hate it, but they find that it does what it's advertised for. So we're competing against a company that's been doing this for 20 years. So they got their act, figured out also. And occasionally I've had customers tell me that occasionally a customer, they'll do like a certain time of year, they'll give a promotion where if you buy so many medicine cups, you'll get an Aerogen controller of some kind. Maybe it's the USB controller, at no cost. So there's some things going on. So we might, most of the people are paying for controllers. And the list price when you go to Trianum's website for an Aerogen Pro X controller is $950. Now, their list price for their medicine cups is almost $1,000, but they're selling them for $58, so $580. So I kind of figured that same discount, which is about 40% from their controller, from their medicine cups, would mean if they did that same discount on the controllers, they're probably paying somewhere in the neighborhood of $550 for an Aerogen controller. So, we're significantly less expensive. I also have a program in the works where we're going to give a customer $186 swap-in, trade-in credit for their current Aerogen controller. And that would mean that they would end up buying our AirMax Plus controller for roughly, $225. And at that rate, if they're saving $15 to $18 per medicine cup, they literally do maybe less than 14 patient treatments with 14 different medicine cups, and they paid for our controller. So it really is pretty exciting what we can do for them. And I'm not against matching any offer that Aerogen either has out there now or comes out with. So if someone tells you they got them free, can you give us a copy of the program that was under, and we will try to match it. Does that answer your question, Lisa?
Yes, it does. Yeah, thank you for all that.
The last thing I would tell you is that the 3 different levels, that the customer came to me and said, well, maybe that level 3 would help us with the more viscous medicines, and Benson has told me that it should do that. And then they were the ones who told me, oh yeah, we have some protocols where we have to give a treatment over an hour period. Well, the lower rate might help that situation. So the levels is kind of a nice thing. The nebulization rate or intensity levels, who doesn't want more choice? It's kind of nice. And I have a specification sheet that I take with me that I can tell the person what the differences are in the 3 levels, and we end up equaling a level 2. Other things that are similar, in fact, everything is kind of nice in a way that all the different attachments that they are using right now will work with our medicine cup. From anything from the T-piece to some of the other things. This is an aero chamber, so our medicine cup, fits into here. They have this, and our medicine cup will fit into theirs. Obviously, we're going to be selling it also, but in this environment, I'd be manually doing it. And you can attach our flow sensor to this if they wanted. Let me see where the flow sensor went. Let's see. Here it is. So I can attach the flow sensor if I wanted to this, and so when I inhale, it will deliver the nebulization into the chamber. When I exhale, it'll pause it. I don't know whether anybody would do that, but it's nice to know that it can work. But at a minimum, we can do ER treatment. So I find that most departments that are using it is the emergency department and ICU and respiratory controls, both environments. And that's the other thing I've learned, that nursing really doesn't have any involvement with this. I originally started talking about the app and how nursing would like it, and the respiratory therapist said, there's no nurses that touches our equipment or has anything to do with our treatments. And I think that's part of respiratory's desire to protect their turf. Let's see. So that's kind of a positive also. Jerry, you were going to ask something?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday, spoke with a couple of people. One hospital, they had, I think, 1 Aerogen. They were looking to be getting more down the road, and Aerogen or Trianum is offering them a promo. She didn't understand it. Of course, I didn't see what she was reading to me, but basically, they're cutting deals for new business.
Yeah. Well, and that's when someone says that to you, you would ask them, could you email me their promotion, and we'll see about whether we can match it or even better it.
Right. I understand.
I would encourage all of you to try to get as much information about what Aerogen does and perhaps what they're going to do, and that will help us all along the line.
Okay. Second person I talked to had received Tim's email blast on this and was very interested in it, particularly the, the flow sensor. He thought that was going to be a great idea. However, they are an Ascension account, and I have a bunch of them in my territory. Aren't they out of St. Louis, Ascension? They're corporate
They may be. I don't know. I can't say we've ever done a really good job with any national group, but if you send me an email, I'll try to reach out to them. I know we've called on the local office here before, so it's worth a try. So yeah, I would say the best thing to do, and we have a couple HCA accounts that we're working. The best thing to do is when you get someone that shows interest and they're an Ascension account or they're an HCA account, is asking them who should you contact at corporate that would be responsible perhaps for respiratory devices. So if you give me a name, I'll hunt them down and we'll pursue that, whether it's HCA or Ascension.
I did that yesterday, and the guy said, I have no idea. But anyway, what he did say was that, because I had called on this guy years ago, and he said, it's not like the old days. Their value analysis people will not allow them to even trial a new product unless they get it through the corporate deal. And they have to do all kinds of paperwork. And he said, it's just, they've taken everything out of their hands, the respiratory department's hands. So,
yeah, well, that's not different than Barnes. I mean, they have to go through the value analysis, but he was very willing to do it because he saw real clinical advantages and potential significant cost savings.
Well,
so it's no different than anything else. Go ahead.
I was going to say, this guy, he's still interested enough that he may want to pursue this further on his end. I told him we would look on our end and see what we could do.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't think I've had anybody that has been looking at it and going, oh my, we don't need that, or no, I don't want that, or I'm not interested in that. There always been, send me a quote, let's go to the next step, that kind of thing. So and these are customers that we don't really have a relationship with. Now, Jerry, you might know your guy, but because you've called on respiratory for on and off for ages, but my Barnes relationship, I had never met Palmer Wade, and I have not experienced a more positive result from someone that I hadn't been calling on numerous times. I often say that you can rarely sell something with one sales call, which I don't believe you can sell this with one sales call, but I've been so impressed that I think we might have sold it to Barnes with one sales call, but we still have more steps to take in that whole value analysis process. But I think it looks real positive. So that's what I'm encouraged about, because we don't necessarily have great across the country relationships with respiratory therapists. But I would ask if Rafe or John Lohr are on the call. They've made a lot of telephone calls to respiratory, and they're getting, I think, lots of appointments for me. Is John or Rafe on this call?
Hi, this is John. How are you?
Yeah, John, tell us what you've been doing, because obviously we did two presentations yesterday, and we're doing a lot for John and introducing it. Tell us what you're doing to get the names first, and then maybe get the appointments.
Well, one thing is I had back in 25 and 24 when we had the ResMed line, the CPAP and BiPAP, AirCurve and AutoCurve were, when the Philips product got discontinued, I called on the respiratory departments and got some good sales on the product. So I developed some relationships in respiratory departments over the years. And so I just reconnected to some of the respiratory departments, and I was like, hey, we have alternative to Aerogen. We have a compatible system. It's cost effective. I know it just got FDA approved in March, and it's in its infancy stages. And I would love to set up a video call and we know the national average of what they're paying compared to our $40 per cost. Could we set up a video call and just introduce the product and see what you think? And Kevin is doing an outstanding job doing these amazing video calls, and I think we've completed at least 5 in the past couple of weeks, and every one of them are interested in the medicine cups and the product, and they're taken into value analysis. So I know the product is great, and it's been in Europe for 5 years, so it's established. And if you do the calls and you set up the video calls and get Kevin on the calls, like, you're going to get some interest. I know.
Thank you, John. He does a good job focusing, on a whole morning. He'll call nothing but respiratory therapists for a morning, and we get all kinds of calls for it. So, Rafe, are you on this call? I think Rafe might be traveling to a World Cup game in Houston, so maybe not. But at any rate, he's made a bunch of calls, and we've made a bunch of video calls and individual person-to-person calls that have gone well. So that's kind of encouraging. Everything has been moved forward. Now, I see a question from Wayne. Do they ever have back orders? Well, of course they have back orders because they are just getting into the U.S. They don't have a warehouse at this time. So I am in the process of offering them warehouse space if they want to, because their California facility is not up and running yet. So what I'm hoping happens is they agree to send a couple pallets of product, and we initially showed them what we would charge them for the space, but I'm thinking about waiving that and just letting them stock it here so that we'll have a place to draw it from. So when we do get a customer, especially if it's a large customer, we're going to have an onboarding process, which is a combination of them telling us how many medicine cups they believe they would use once they're up and running with our controllers or our AG1. And once they tell us that, then we commit that in the next 60 to 90 days, we would have inventory in place for them that's earmarked for them. So it is getting product from China. They don't have a California warehouse yet. We're trying to work on that, but once again, they just got approval at the end of March, so we're pretty early into this thing. I did go to Miami, and that's where I met Lisa, and we met them, and like I said, then they went on to Chicago and met John, then they went on to California, met our rep there. So so they are reasonably impressed with our operation, and obviously they're going to partner with us at the AARC, and it's a matter of just getting everyone on board and getting activity going. I have purchased 60 AG1s. I don't have 60 controllers, but we've also going to get their brochure in. So I think with the combination of really what I would do is, instead of even showing them the AG1, I would get them on a phone call or conference call with me, and that moves the ball forward pretty well. And then if they want to see something, then we would send you a controller and an AG1. Everything it fits rather tightly, but everything fits in kind of this pouch. I have my whole demo kit basically in here. Now it's starting to get, I can't add this onto it, but they know what this is, and it's nice to be able to tell them that everything they're using now from an accessory standpoint from Aerogen, they can continue to use. If at some point in time we have pricing that's better than what they're doing, and they want to try our product, then we'll gradually get that business and start stocking it.
Hey, Kevin. How about the Aerogen product? Do they ever have back orders?
I don't know. That's a good question. Once again, I encourage all of you, when someone says, "Oh, hey, I like the fact that you got a breath actualization," your next question should be what? Anyone? Well, some of you are on mute, but the next question should be, well, what do you like about it? So
Hey, Kevin, more information. John, once again, hey, I will say one thing. Every video call we've been on thus far, every facility, every hospital is they have not to say that they're not interested in looking and pursuing the Air Max. The AirICU Max product. Every video call thus far. So I would just encourage everyone to call your respiratory departments and get on the phone and set up appointments. Get Kevin on the phone, and you'll be surprised the interest that the product is getting.
Yeah. So we've kind of said that. Anybody else have any questions? But that'd be a great question, Wayne, to ask one of your customers. Hey, do you ever have back order issues or supply issues from Aerogen? Now they've been doing it for 20 years, so I'd be surprised. And I believe Aerogen is distributed by Trianum. This is what's a little weird: is some customers get it direct, some customers get it from Trianum. So I don't really understand how that really works. But that there is sources that they can probably have extra inventory from Trianum or direct.
Kevin, it may have to do with who's their prime vendor. When you say some get it direct and some get it through distribution. I mean, if they have a distribution agreement with, let's say, Owens and Minor or Cardinal, then all of those sales, the more sales they have that go through Cardinal, the larger the rebate checks become.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's definitely possible. So don't be thinking of the negative. Think about the positive, and we have a good solution both clinically and price-wise, and we can deal with any situation. But we will also be available through Owens & Minor, through Medline, and through Cardinal. So Bell Medical has relationships and has rebate programs with all of them. We deal with monthly, and so a customer will also be able to buy AirICU products from their just-in-time vendor. Normally, just like anything, they buy direct from us for a few times, but once they start on a weekly or monthly basis of buying product, they then usually want to go through their Medlines or Owens & Minor. So we support that. We want to make it as easy as possible for them to buy the products through Bell Medical. And if it ends up that Cardinal and Owens & Minor and Medline buy them from us and then distribute them, that's okay with us. They give us tracings. Everybody gets a report. And, it's not ideal because they get better pricing than our customer, and they don't pay shipping. And, there's issues, but we believe it's worth us working with them to make it as easy as possible for the customer to have access to the product.
Hey, Kevin, this is Gary again. You mentioned a 3-hospital system that was buying thousands of cups.
3,000 cups. 3,000 cups.
Every month?
No, that was 3,000 cups a year. But if you do the math on it, 3,000 cups times, I guess, 40, that's $120,000. And we only pay, let's do it this way, 40 minus 15, our cost is only $15. So we're making $25 times 3,000. That means we're making $75,000 in profit times 0.4 for the rep. That means he's getting $30,000 divided by 12. That's where he gets $2,500 a month from that one account. Yesterday we did with John Lohr, we did a customer that had only 2 controllers, but then she did have some USB cables, and she was doing, but here's a small hospital. In fact, I think they might have been a critical access hospital, but they were doing she was buying 40 medicine cups a month. So that's a really small account, but once again, that can add up also because she was ready to move forward. But yeah, I'm thinking I can't even imagine how many a hospital system like Barnes or BJC or Intermountain Health, or I can't imagine how many medicine cups they use. Now, we won't get that business right away, but what I'm encouraging customers to do is, hey, give us, if it's a big account, you got 3 ICUs, let's implement it in one of the ICUs and see how it goes. Let's implement it in the emergency department and see how it goes. I'm confident we'll have to do some in-servicing, but the nice thing is the product basically works the same as Aerogen, so I don't believe it'll be significant in-servicing. But if there is, that's more time for you to sell other stuff. So I strongly encourage you to never go into a hospital and just call an anesthesia. Now we need to call an anesthesia and respiratory. So make sure, and ED probably. But usually respiratory is controlling any nebulization that's going on in the ED.
I have a question, Kevin.
Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking about just like my mom's rehab and stuff. What about the rehab places after we get the hospitals up and running?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to just tell you right now, this company has everything. I mean, they have all kinds of home health and home care stuff. It's just not our focus, if you will. We want to focus on hospitals with this product. This also wouldn't be probably would not be an ambulatory surgery center product. It is a hospital product, and ideally it's a hospital that has an active ED and maybe a couple ICUs, and thus they have a couple ventilators. But once again, we've talked to some customers that have 2 controllers, and yet they were doing a fairly good volume of medicine cups. But yeah, you could go to the Feellife website, and they, you can be in the hospital area, and that's all these products that we're talking about, or you can go to the general area, and you'll see all the different things. I believe they've even, I think they've even contracted with. Maybe CVS is going to handle one of their, their products. It won't be a product that will compete with us, but I don't believe they're asking us, and we're not necessarily at this time interested in doing anything with the home health or with home care in general. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are on nebulizers of some kind. So once again, we also have. It's amazing how many people have shared the cost they're paying. The lowest I've heard was 52, and almost everybody has said 57 or 58. So that means they're paying $580 for a box of 10, and we're at $400. We're saving them $18 per treatment. That's pretty significant. I'm sure they'll come back with a lower price, but it could be a little embarrassing. Hey, we only have about 3 minutes. Is there any other? There are no dumb questions. I know I've set out a lot of emails on this product, so I would encourage you to go to our website. There's like 5 videos on our website that 4 of them are one's a South American guy showing how to connect things. One's an Italian woman that talks about different things. But they're only 4 and 5 minute videos. One of them is my 5 minute video that is an overview of the system. I would encourage you to look at those videos. I would encourage you to go to the Aerogen website and look at the way they market their product. I would encourage you to go to the Feellife website. Now, it's interesting, Feellife is not really interested in promoting, well, I'm not saying they're uninterested in promoting the word Feellife. They're more interested in promoting AirICU. And the Solo Cup is an AER ICU product. And ours is an AIR ICU product. And somehow in Europe, a number of years ago, they got in trouble with that name, so they have to call it something different in Europe. But at that same time, they made the application to be able to use AIR ICU in the U.S. and so they were able to get that. So they have the rights to that name, and I don't believe Aerogen can do anything about it. So that's the AirICU, AirICU Max Plus, AirICU AG1. That's kind of a, you know, we're not hiding that it's Feellife and that it's a Chinese company, but if when we say that, the best thing to say is that they're going to have production in the U.S. and Southern California. Okay, we're down to a minute. Anybody else have any questions? Not that we can't go longer. I'm just throwing that out. That let me get a drink of water. So if I was going to give you some tips on doing a demo, even with the AG1, is you always got to have power. So that can be either with an AC plug plugged into your USB port or plug it into a USB port. There's two cables. One is a little cable that fits here that the ventilator cable plugs into. I don't have a whole lot of those, but with the AG1, the Aerogen controller cable comes with it, and that's the connector on that. So that will plug into the Aerogen controller, and then the Aerogen controller is what's going to control our medicine cup. So the AG1 in general is the bridge for a ventilator and a bridge for the ProAx controllers to control our medicine cups. And then, you know, that's kind of it. I usually summarize with everybody that we have a more flexible power source with a USB. We have a larger medicine cup, and that's important because a couple people told me that they can never put 6 mLs into an Aerogen cup, so they like the idea of having maximum of 10 mLs. The mesh gives you 3 different nebulization rates, and ours is a polymer mesh. Theirs is a palladium metal mesh that I think there has been issues in the past where it might, you know, be used over a long period of time. These nebulizers, or this medicine cup, can be used for 28 days of 4 treatments a day, or it can be used 7 days continuously. That's not saying that ours can't last longer, but that's kind of the way they've been tested and rated, and that's the same with Aerogen. So obviously they're single patient use only. You can't use one medicine cup that was used on another patient, but they can be used for extended period of times, and that's where they think our polymer mesh will shine, is that it right now the palladium mesh that Aerogen has can clog up, and in fact that's the kind of things we want to ask. You know, is there anything you don't like about the Aerogen system? And if they say, well, not really, and says, well, do you have to clean out your medicine cups, or do they ever clog up? You know, oh, what medicines do they clog up with? Now we have a list of medicines, and when I give that list out, they usually look down and say, oh yeah, that's one of the viscous ones. We have trouble with that, type thing. So the more information you and I can get from them about their experiences, the better, because then we can use that on the next sales situation. I hope everybody's excited about getting an extra $2,400 in their pocket every month for just selling a 3-hospital system. So imagine what it could be. It could be a major benefit to all of us. I'm supposed to be slowing down, but I'm not. I'm putting the pedal to the metal on this. We're attending extra shows. We've invested a lot of money already. We're getting ready to even place another order perhaps so that we don't have a back order issue. But we need to get a couple accounts buying. What happened with the Envision QView, I was able to get Barnes to buy it, and they're buying 12 boxes a month, so now we're able to buy it in container loads. Well, that's kind of what we need to do with this AirICUs. We need to get a couple big accounts so that I can go ahead and buy in high quantity and have it stored here, and I know I'm not going to get stuck with it because I got a couple good accounts that are using it on a routine basis. So that's the plan. I encourage you, please do not make a hospital call without calling on your respiratory therapy and your anesthesia department. We still want to grow all those products. Okay? Last questions?